And while these are encouraged here in Georgia, they are not required. They do have their temperature checked and they are asked to wear a mask. And once they sit down, the mask can come off for their cleaning. This grocery store here, I'm basically living my childhood dream. You get to scan and you get to, of course, run the register here and shop all around. Signed this declaration Tuesday morning, ordering residents to shelter at home. The coronavirus pandemic has pushed learning completely out of the classroom to online. Hey, Ashley, good morning. Well, there was a crash on I-95 southbound. A tractor trailer actually flipped over this morning, probably right around 4 o'clock this morning. And when we checked in with you about a half hour ago, Ashley, we were at exit 109 in Port Wentworth, and we've now moved up to exit 106 here, the Jimmy DeLoach Parkway exit. This building here behind me was fully engulfed in flames. Ashley, Chris, good morning. Yeah, like you just said, Chris, as you can see behind me here, Savannah Fire and police are still on scene of this massive fire from yesterday afternoon here at the Eastern Wharf complex. Savannah Fire does plan to stay here until that fire is fully extinguished. Ashley, Chris, hey, well, as you can see, the wind is blowing very hard here this afternoon on Tybee Island. We've noticed that it has gotten stronger throughout the day today, and the rain is coming down. ACS is definitely making his way to here to Tybee Island in southeast Georgia. We heard Friday for the first time from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation about their decision to make the arrests in what has quickly become a high-profile case.
We base our decisions on two things. One are facts and the other is the law. Whatever the facts are, we apply the law to it. If the law says what the facts are is a felony murder, then we take the warrants for it. I'm very comfortable in telling you that there's more than sufficient probable cause in this case for felony murder.
Thursday evening's arrest of both Gregory and Travis McMichael were without issue, and both were cooperative, according to the GBI. Now, the question being asked by many is why the McMichael's arrest didn't happen back in February when the murder of Ahmaud Arbery took place in the Brunswick neighborhood.
The only thing I can tell people is that, you know, I work at an agency and represent an agency that is committed to doing the right thing for the right reason. I think we've exhibited that in the 36 to 48 hours we've had this case. Anything outside of that, I can't ponder an opinion on it.
Now attention turns to their continued investigation and the possibility of more arrests.
We're continuing to look at all the evidence. They're continuing to do things that haven't been done yet, and we'll plan on doing that the rest of the time it takes before they make some decision or conclusion whether or not probable cause exists to arrest anyone else.
The GBI says while it wishes it was called in to help with the case when it happened back in February, the agency isn't able to get involved until it is asked to do so. District Attorney Tom Durden, who is leading the case, received the case in mid-April and asked the GBI for its assistance on Tuesday. Mr. Director, where does the investigation go from here?
We'll continue to track down leads. We'll continue to talk to people. We'll continue to talk to folks in the neighborhood. We'll rehash and relook at stuff that's already been done in the case to decide whether or not any of that needs to be added to or any else work needs to be done. And again, we're doing an investigation is similar to following a road. Sometimes it's straight, sometimes it turns, sometimes it's curved. So wherever that factual road takes us is exactly where we'll go.
GBI Director Reynolds says his office's investigation is ongoing and could continue for quite some time. Reporting in Brunswick, Emma Hamilton, WJCL 22 News. Empty seats and no backpacks to hang has become all too familiar for third grade teacher Brianna Kite.
Good morning.
Good morning, kiddos. How are y'all today?
And virtual hellos through the computer screen each morning. Who would have ever thought this is what teaching in 2020 would look like?
I think it's actually going a lot better than I expected. I was a little nervous at first, just something new. It's like everyone's the first year teacher. But I think the kids were ready for this. They use technology all the time at home. They are getting it a lot easier than I am getting it, and they're teaching me in some ways. So I think it's been a really great experience and for all of us.
Social Studies Department Chair at Windsor Forest High School, Michelle Hooker, agrees that virtual learning, for the most part, has been smooth, but she's really missing that in-person interaction.
I love my student. I get emotional thinking about it because I miss them so much. Just being with them, being able to give them immediate feedback an immediate, correction on anything. It could be with the work that they're doing, or just like advice in life. I miss being able to do that because I don't get to make that connection with students I've never met before virtually.
As Savannah-Chatham school leaders begin to think about what heading back to the classroom might look like, Ms. Kite is ready for that challenge.
I know that it will be a big task when we get back, but I think the kids will be ready to learn because they want to come back as well.
But both teachers do agree it will be a big challenge, especially if the district goes with a hybrid model.
Students who are in the classroom physically with you, and you're still having to Zoom at the exact same time, and you have to prepare lessons for both of them, that is worrisome to me. And it's worrisome to me because of the experiences that my friends and colleagues in Florida, where I used to teach, they're struggling. They're struggling with their workload, and they're struggling with their ability to actually effectively teach all students.
Reporting in Savannah, Emma Hamilton, WJCL 22 News. Incumbent Buddy Carter is running for his 4th term and says his track record proves that after all these years, he is still the right candidate for the job.
The completion of the Savannah Harbor Expansion Project, arguably the most important economic development project since the interstate system, and that's going to be very important. We're about to finish that, and as soon as we finish that, of course, we got other projects we've got to undertake. And when you look at our district, the military is such an important part, our veterans who are our heroes, and taking care of them. And certainly the American farmer feeds the world, and we have to keep that in mind. The #1 industry in the state of Georgia is agriculture, so we have to continue to support them and make sure that they are succeeding.
Carter says with the ongoing pandemic, he's committed to ensuring that all Georgians, especially those who live in rural areas, have access to broadband internet. His challenger, Democratic nominee Joyce Marie Griggs, is focused on social and racial injustices, among several other things.
I'm running because a lot of people do not have health care, especially during this pandemic. These are some hard times. A lot of people are out of jobs. Our veterans are not being taken care of. Being a veteran myself, I understand the system. I'm running so we can have a safe and clean environment. We're on the coast of Georgia. There is so much we have here, okay? And we must make sure our environment is protected.
Griggs and Carter agree that beating the virus is at the top of their priority lists, along with fighting for health care for Georgians. They say serving in Congress isn't about themselves.
This election is about the hardworking people of the 17 counties that makes up the 1st Congressional District.
To grow up to represent the people in this district is quite an honor.
Reporting in Savannah, Emma Hamilton, WJCL 22 News. Good morning, everyone. It is 8 o'clock on your Sunday morning. Thanks so much for starting your day with WJCL 22 Morning News. I'm Emma Hamilton. Chris Tatum has the morning off. Let's get a look at that certified most accurate forecast this morning with our meteorologist, Melissa Hall. Hey, Melissa. Well, the Bullitt County School District will start following new rules for COVID-19 self-quarantine. The rule states students and staff at Bullitt County schools will not have to quarantine when directly exposed to COVID-19 if they were wearing a mask at the time. The rule was approved Thursday night and goes into effect immediately. Anyone who is currently quarantined can return to school as long as they're asymptomatic. The school district says since the beginning of the school year, 98 students and staff have tested positive for COVID-19. Meanwhile, Chatham County leaders are considering extending the area's mask mandate. Dr. Lawton Davis of the Coastal Health District says the county's 7-day rolling average is trending down over the past 2 weeks. However, county leaders are concerned about a possible surge in cases over the holidays. It's time for our news to go on this Friday morning, starting with a live look from our Skyview 22 camera on top of the Homewood Suites on the river. Here's a look at what's happening right now just as you get ready to walk out the door and start your day. 2 people are injured after a shooting in a restaurant in Hinesville. Hinesville police say they arrived at Gatus Sports Bar and Grill at around 11:30 last night and found one person shot in the stomach and another person shot in the leg. Their conditions are unknown this morning, but officers say they arrested one suspect. A Savannah man is pleading guilty to murdering the wife of a Fort Stewart soldier. Stephon Davis admitted in federal court to killing Abri Boykin outside of her home in July of 2018. Davis admitted to knowing Boykin from their childhood. Her husband, Sergeant Sean Boykin, was deployed in South Korea at the time of her murder. A Chatham County grand jury is indicting one of the former Savannah police officers fired for using excessive force, meaning he will have a trial for criminal charges. The grand jury indicted former Sergeant Octavio Arango on charges of false imprisonment and simple battery because of an arrest in April. The other officer involved, former Corporal Daniel Kang, was not indicted on any criminal charges. Well, this weekend, the YMCA of Beaufort County is hosting its 14th annual swim and 5K race, all for a good cause. WJCL's Daniel Robinson is joining us live this morning with how this could impact your travel plans this weekend. Daniel, good morning. We have hurricanes, we have rain, tornado warnings. You're a busy man this morning, Jonathan. Well, President Trump is contradicting his own health officials, insisting a coronavirus vaccine could be ready as early as next month, despite longer estimates from the CDC. Matt Pritchard is in Washington with more. Turning now to our Commitment 2020 news here locally. With the November election less than 2 months away, one Low Country organization is helping people get to know their candidates from the comfort of their own home. WJCL's Daniel Robinson is joining us live this morning with more on how you can take part. Hey, Daniel. The ACLU of Georgia is asking the Georgia Attorney General to update the public on its investigation into the handling of Ahmaud Arbery's case. Ahmaud Arbery was killed in February near Brunswick. The men charged with his murder are awaiting trial right now, but they were not arrested until more than 2 months after his death. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is looking into how the Glenn County Police Department handled this case and the possibility of misconduct by the Brunswick and Waycross district attorneys. This investigation started in May, and now the ACLU is requesting new information. Jonathan, thank you so much. The Georgia Department of Education is giving money to public school districts that helped provide funding to private schools during the pandemic. According to the Associated Press, $15 million will go to the 180 Georgia school districts as a reimbursement. The Savannah-Chatham County Public School District is included on that list and will receive around $900,000. Meanwhile, the University System of Georgia is becoming concerned about how online classes will impact the state's 26 universities. AJC reports that public universities could lose an estimation of nearly $500 million. That money would be from the decrease in the amount of room, board, and student fees if no students return to campus in the fall. Sending children back to school can present a totally different problem. We're talking about separation anxiety. Aix Adias reports from our Washington Bureau on ways parents can help their kids cope for the upcoming school year. And Jared, one last thing before you go. Today marks the first day Congressman John Lewis will lie in the state at the U.S. Capitol. What can you tell us about the remembrance?